Can hear our whole half of Korea coming right now.
You've got to get the fizz in, you maniac. I'm drinking a Coca-Cola live on the podcast.
So what's going on there? Talk me through it. What's
Really
happening?
know.
What's going on with you, man?
Might be a quarter-life crisis.
Sure. Both drinking Coke.
Well, I got this. I had food poisoning last week, and I got it as kind of like, that'll be nice to have after.
It's good for you. If your tummy's feeling,
I know, but I couldn't stomach anything, so I thought, that'll be nice after I've got it all done. But then I never really got to that point, and then I forgot about it and saw it in the fridge now, and I was like, that seems like a tasty.
So it's not gonna be a life. It's not a lifestyle thing.
No, I'm not going to start drinking. What a horrible decision to make it when you're 26. Well, I'm just going to start drinking cans of full-fat Coke nowadays. That's my New Year's resolution, to drink full-fat Coke every day.
I do find if you are drinking full-fat Coke, it seems like every time I see someone holding a can of full-fat Coke, I'm like, this is a reckless man.
I agree. I think you're a loser. You need to sort it out.
Yeah, well, loser, but it's more like this guy doesn't give a fuck. This guy's
a loser.
He's riding by his coattail or pants. Riding by the seat of his pants. What's the saying?
I'm not really sure.
You know what I mean? You're riding
coattails sounds right.
No, coattails when you're hanging on someone else's achievements.
Right.
Riding by. I mean, he's a reckless. He's just drive. It's like he's like a drunk driver almost. It's just like this level of disregard and recklessness.
Yeah.
Something that tastes exactly the same. Why would you put all your sugar?
Exactly the same.
Like, pretty much.
No way near. A normal Coke doesn't taste anything like a Diet Coke. I don't like Diet Coke.
But
I don't
Zero.
like Coke Zero.
Coke
I
Zero.
like this Coke.
If you
It's the only Coke I like.
I'm sure of it. If you drank Coke Zero 4 times in a row, you'd be actually I prefer Coke Zero. You just get used to it. It's just what you're. It's just.
It is what I'm. Well, I don't drink Coke enough to try and change the whole.
Change the
game.
Yeah.
Change the way we
reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
But I just think it's an insane recklessness to put
no,
that
but
much sugar. I mean,
me,
it makes sense if you're ill, for a one-off. But if you're regularly drinking full-fat Coke,
but that's the thing. I'm not. If I'm like,
to be honest, you don't see it much anymore. You don't see those cans anymore.
For me, Coca-Cola should be a treat.
Sure.
It shouldn't. I don't think it should be included in a regular diet. So if I'm going to have it once every now and again, I'm going to go full fat.
No, that's fair.
Why the heck not?
Yeah.
Like today, it's a cheat day. It's a celebration.
Yeah. What, that you no longer feel like shit?
I guess so. It's an odd time for the celebration. It's been fine for about a week and a half. But
did you know that Coke/Pepsi is the most popular drink in every single country but one? Do you know what country?
North Korea.
There's one country in the world that doesn't drink Coke, Coke does drink Coke, but Coke and Pepsi isn't the number one drink.
Isn't the
one
number
country.
one drink.
In one country.
In one country?
Yeah.
Is it a country known for its drink? Is this one drink? Has it got a really famous drink?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You guess so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it in Europe?
Yep.
Is it in mainland Europe?
Nope.
Is it Scandinavia?
Nope.
Well, then I'm out of options.
Scotland.
Is it Scotland?
Yeah.
Oh, Iron Brew. Fuck off. Really?
It's mad, isn't it? So you see a whole map, everything, Coke and Pepsi, every single country.
And then they're I think I have seen that.
Apart from Scotland, where the number one drink's Iron Brew. And then no one drinks it outside of Scotland. It's a weird...
That is
It's
weird.
a weirdly distinct thing.
I don't think I've ever had an Iron Brew.
It's not good. It's not great. It's good with... If you have it with vodka, it's a pretty nice... combo, because it's just it's a big hit and it's got caffeine in it and it's just a big rush.
I saw a brief internet video about the genius of marketing of Coke. Right?
Oh yeah.
Is that this is an academic point actually? Yeah. Is that the genius of it is they've managed to wherever you go, any restaurant or any food place or drink place, they'll serve Coke. No matter if it's like a McDonald's, you expect Coke, or if it's a 5-star restaurant or a Michelin star restaurant, they're serving Coke. It's become. They've managed to make it so it's
ubiquitous.
It's like water. It's always served, no matter what. It's classy. It's not classy. It's whatever. You can have whatever you want.
It's probably more readily accessible than water in some places.
In some where?
Kenya.
Right, I was going to say Africa. I thought you meant like down the road. I was like, well, maybe. Yeah, it probably is.
Was it that? Is the guy who said this that guy who knows about
I reckon
everything?
You're absolutely right.
Rory Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
He just seemingly has an opinion on everything.
Yeah.
He's just all over my TikTok.
Yeah. Big frizzy hair.
Yeah, and seems to understand what's going on behind everything. So how do you know everything?
He does know everything.
Oh, and he used to be the head of Ogilvy, who are the pork people who approach us to do the pork advertising. So he probably is brilliant because he knows
talent.
He knows to us to try and get young people eating pork.
He knows talent when he sees it. Well, yeah, I think he does seem to talk about everything, but everything is about marketing. When you look at it, it's like how you sell stuff.
Maybe like it could have been in like 15 years he could talk about like the reason why everyone's eating pork. And
because of the genius of the Boys Gone Wild 3 40-second sketch TikTok campaign, where it's probably just involved us dressed as a pork loin for most of it.
Genius. And you don't think about it. You know, pork's more ubiquitous, you know, anyway you can get pork out.
Yeah. And that was us. It'll be like an Adam Curtis documentary.
I got a breaking news notification before coming on about the king is getting his prostate checked. And I feel, so there must be, this is probably quite a unique thing for this country with our unique relationship with the royalty, where we have to know even like mild medical things. We have to be aware of it because in case it went wrong at all.
Yeah. Then there's, processes that need to be in place.
But what that means is that we're getting told, which I feel
pretty private information.
If I was the king, I wouldn't want a breaking news notification going to pretty much every phone in the country.
Yeah.
That I was having a finger up my arse.
Yeah, 100%. I took a screenshot. I think it's worth actually putting it on because of how big it is on BBC News. Breaking news, and it's taken up that massive part of the BBC News homepage. It's like man gets prostate exam essentially.
And I wonder,
he's got an enlarged prostate.
And I guess maybe it speaks to the lack of power that monarchy actually has compared to maybe the kings of old. I don't think he probably would be allowed to change that because it's the point of the royal monarchy is a public interest.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I feel it's hard to be viewed as a king when you can't keep your prostate exams private. You don't even have the power to stop people knowing about your prostate exams. There is a level of like.
Well, do you think it undermines him as a ruler?
I think so.
Me too.
I definitely think so.
Do you reckon he got a prostate exam because he's got an enlarged prostate? Yeah. So my theory is that the reason he's got an enlarged prostate because he's had some problems down there, and he tried to sort it out himself with his big fat fingers. Then made it worse, and now he's going to have to go and get surgery. Or, he just likes one up there.
I guess it's that sort of aristocratic confidence to think, I can probably...
My fingers are narrow enough.
Well, yeah, but also, once he's up there, what's he doing?
He's fishing around.
Yeah, but what's he sorting out?
I don't know.
I think
putting
that
stuff
sort
back
of,
where it should be.
That private school thinking of like, I can do anything. I understand how to fix a prostate.
I just got to push it up that way.
Yeah, but I guess it's confidence.
Yeah, maybe trying to pop it.
Yeah.
No, it's a bit like, what's that thing? They don't have any privacy. They get the money as long as they give us their privacy. And I guess this is one of the most extreme versions of it. This one seems unnecessary. It's fun to know. I mean,
if he ends up dying, fair play.
Well, yeah, I think it's because it's surgery, isn't it? So they don't do like GP appointments. They're not like
he's got a runny tummy.
He's got like a benign cyst on his toe. Like
he's got diarrhea.
Yeah. The king's got the squits. Is that you're happy? You want to know that? Yeah. No, I guess it's they have to alert when it's surgery because surgery you could die, can't you? Really, at any point.
No matter what.
No matter what. Yeah. Well, I guess local anaesthetic. No.
Well, I just think they could probably be more discreet. The king's going into surgery, but it's nothing that serious.
No, because that would cause a panic. Because everyone will be like, "What's wrong with the king?" Whereas if you go prostate, you're like, "Okay, it's just an EP."
But also
enlarged prostate.
Yeah, I guess what I'd change. I understand probably the need to report it. If you're going to have a monarchy, you got to report it. I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the breaking news notifications. I feel breaking news.
I wrote that down. Breaking news. Is it worth a notification?
Is that going on?
Breaking news on the tickers underneath. King to receive prostate examination. You're like,
and he's trying to re-establish himself. He's coming in after a big figure. The Queen.
Who? Yeah. That one. Yeah, she was pretty big.
A big figure. And he's trying to re-establish himself.
She never had any of these problems, did she?
Exactly. Well, clearly she didn't.
She was a stoic, strong lady.
Whose prostate didn't.
How many years?
She didn't have a snowflake. I don't know, 70?
70 years, not one prostate exam. She was too busy ruling.
Well, we'd know about it if there was.
Exactly.
That was one thing that
not one prostate exam for her. Too busy ruling. Whereas this guy, how long's he been in? 2 years? No, I'm not
that's
sure.
The thing with Prince Philip. That's what Prince Philip is, because he also, and I guess they're related, so they probably have similar issues.
Yeah.
Near the end for him, we had so many notifications. It was really annoying.
Yeah.
Like the hospital, because he kept going into hospital as you would when you're about to die.
Yeah, it was an inconvenience for you.
It was.
Our king.
But the percentage of breaking news notifications that it took up with the king's health. You know?
Yeah, I think it's fair that we know because he's going into. It's not just an exam; it's a surgery. I think exam will be too far. I'm not sure it needs to be as big on the BBC.
Well, he's doing an exam.
A prostate exam.
He's doing it.
Yeah,
it's like a
multiple choice.
It's like a driving theory test.
Yeah. What is the purpose of the prostate? Is it A?
And it's like you failed. You're gonna have to come back again.
You
need to know this. It's
and
important.
every time he fails, his prostate gets a bit bigger until he finally has to have surgery. If it was an exam, then fine. We don't need that. I guess we should know if the kid's going to surgery.
Yeah.
That seems like. I guess we should be alerted in this weird world we live in.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it requires a notification on my phone.
Yeah.
Like ding. That seems that there's almost an immediacy to it.
Well, on Sky News, the thing is da 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 da.
Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it? And then and I'm not sure it needs to be the top story.
No.
So it's taking up so much of the BBC homepage.
Do you know the story?
Which shows
the story below it or above it, whatever, or like the slightly sub story. Princess Kate Middleton's also got.
Yeah, she's had abdomen surgery. Well, they've released it at the same time. They're like, well, Charles is about to. What they've done with that is like Charles is about to get his bum examined surgically.
Let's couch this.
He's about to get his bum surgically removed. That's what a prostate. Yeah. Charles is about to get his bum surgically removed, so we know Kate's going to be in the hospital soon for her abdomen. We'll release him at the same time to take a bit of the sting off Charles. That's just a PR.
It's called being a spin doctor.
PR 101.
Yeah,
like, I didn't get these powers; I was born with them. But yeah, I don't know. I was in the middle of something, but I forgot what I was in the middle of.
I don't know.
What's the net? Well, why does it need to be? I don't think it requires as big as a bigger news story because you've also got it's embarrassing how much of the page it takes up when you've got like let's see what the other ones are.
And seeing is I think I've noticed there's probably been more news over the last couple of weeks than for a very long time.
Absolutely,
it might be the most news kind of ever.
Yeah.
It's not as big. It's not as big news as bold. Like COVID and Russia Ukraine. But the amount of news...
There's been a lot of news.
There's a lot more spinning plates. It's not focused.
But so you get that. Look how big that is. Yeah. I mean, it's bigger on the computer, which is funnier. But it's so on the massive at the top is King Charles to be treated for benign prostate condition. And you scroll quite a long way down. It's like Pakistan condemns deadly Iranian missile strike.
Yes.
And you're like, why?
That's embarrassing. That's what I'd hate. I'd hate to have like geopolitical... kind of World War III potential stuff below my prostate exam.
You're like, that is more important.
That's embarrassing for me.
The word benign is in the title.
That puts my prostate at the front.
Yeah, exactly. Can we stop thinking about my prostate? There are far more important things happening. It's so funny. Benign. Yeah, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Everyone in the UK right now. How many millions of people do you reckon are thinking about King Charles's prostate right now?
3.5 mil?
Yeah, you're better at this than me.
I'd say about 3.5 mil.
That's a lot of... Do you think that's the most that anyone has ever thought about anyone's prostate? That is a real question.
No, I'm sure that there was maybe an episode...
Did someone die?
Maybe there's an episode of TV back when everyone watched TV, like a Morecambe and Wise thing, where maybe a prostate got brought up.
About a specific real-life person's prostate?
Okay, well, that changes things.
Look, I didn't say the goalposts were going to stay still.
Oh, I thought it was fictional. I'd say it's up there. I'd say it definitely break top 5.
I think this was number 1 without a doubt.
Well, you don't know because remember India and China was this UK.
Yeah,
because I think
we can't speak to the.
We can't. We don't know what
kind
of stuff that. Yeah, I'm sure
someone would have died.
3.5 million is just a drop in ocean. That's one house in India. So like,
yeah, they have massive houses there. There's like how many houses? Like 50.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole of India.
It, yeah, just make them smaller, guys. You don't all have to live under one roof.
So. Jewish people in tunnels. Have you been keeping across this?
Kind of.
So this is kind of this is a big story that's going around a lot of the podcast because it's a humorous one. So there's been. Do you see that there's a guy who had been saying, and I remember even reading this, that a guy was saying, this was months ago, that he was convinced there were Jews digging tunnels under his house. You know,
in where?
In New York, in Brooklyn, in wherever it was.
Yeah,
he was convinced that there was, and people just thought he was a paranoid schizophrenic because he was convinced that there was Jewish people underneath his house. You could hear them speaking, Hebrew, Yiddish, you name it. You know,
under his house.
And now he has been, you know, now it's like
is
I
it
fucking
confirmed
told you
that
so.
they were under his house? You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. You don't know.
But it does seem like a...
Because that could be... Those could be completely disconnected.
It does seem like a strange coincidence, though.
I feel like that's a bigger story. If someone was like, there are Jewish people building tunnels under my house. And quite rightly, everyone goes, put him in an insane asylum. But then months later, they're like, oh shit, there are actually... There's Jewish people building tunnels under his house. I think that would be a bigger story.
Now, I'm a little confused about what's going on. Because I think basically some youth in Hasidic Jewish communities have taken upon themselves to start digging from the basements they have in synagogues underneath, just to create more space, to create ways to...
You brought this up with me on Monday, and my one question is why.
Yeah.
And that is yet to be answered.
I couldn't answer it either, because there was also videos...
Well, I was asking you.
There was a lot of intra-Jewish fighting, because with the videos over the tunnels, it wasn't like they were band together as a community.
So they were fighting about which direction to do the tunnel.
Well, I don't know. I don't speak Hebrew, but...
and it shows sometimes,
it wasn't the Jewish people versus the NYPD. It was NYPD trying to break up two sects.
But that seemed to be... That seemed to be not connected to the tunnels?
No, that was the Jewish... That was the tunnel synagogue, for sure. Now,
Why?
Because I know what that one looks like. That's where the beginning of the tunnel was. They broke through one of the walls of the synagogue and then started travelling through. Yeah. Now, there is a video of a Hasidic Jewish man crawling out of almost like a comically circular breakage through one of the sewage vents, almost like you would in like a cartoon. All right, so it's like you cut
fall down.
Yeah. And he's crawling out, and there's a guy videoing it. All right, seeing a scared Hasidic Jewish man crawling out of the sewers, out of basically like a broken manhole cover, behind a wheelie bin, and then I hate to say it, scurrying away. You saw the video.
Yeah,
it wasn't a run, it was a scurry. And I
need to get out of here. I've just arrived from the sewers. If I'd have just arrived from the sewers, I wouldn't hang about. I would be off with a shot.
It's scurrying. And I feel, considering how tense it is and the rise of anti-Semitism and the geopolitical just tension at the moment and how tough it is to be a Jewish person, if I saw that, I'd be like, for fuck's sake.
More anti-Semitism is all I hear. What do you mean Jewish people can't build tunnels?
I'm just saying, at this very moment, you would be like, this is not ideal.
I need to know why they're building them.
Because it's like an anti-Semitic cartoon. It's like an absurd... a Jewish man crawling out of a sewer.
Yeah, they're under your house right now.
That is just crazy. If I was Jewish, I'd be like, just give us a break. Because I do feel like every race... You will have a group of people who are sort of ruin it for the rest of us. Do you know what I mean? When you're just trying to live your life, nearly in every race, everyone's chilling out, and then you got someone who's just...
A group of them building tunnels.
And it's just like, you're just making it harder for the rest of us. Yeah. Most people have completely,
Yeah, well, the extremes of each group.
Exactly.
You mean like, are you saying these like the skinheads?
I guess the skinheads, or I think with white people, it'd be more when you see us like sort of... dabbing, or when we're like...
And you think those are worse than skinheads?
No, but I'm saying when it ruins it for the...
Yeah, I was going down the white supremacy route. You're going for more like the oat latte route, which is, I suppose, is a legitimate way.
A Taylor Swift concert, I guess.
Why are they building tunnels? Why? This is apparently a big news story.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical because, by the way, all of my information comes from you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it exists, but I did one bit of research and it was like, it might be a hoax. I'm not backing this as a genuine story.
I think the tunnel's definitely...
But you're hearing this from comedy podcasts.
No, but there's news stuff about it.
But why have I not heard anything about it? About Jewish tunnels?
Let's see if there's the first line that just explains it straight up. Yeah, I have no idea. It's not clear what they were doing.
And that's for me, if any journalist, that's question number one.
Yeah, just say.
So for me, I'm still not sure this is going on.
It is going on. It's definitely going
on. As we advertised on the podcast last week, we had the honour, I'd argue, of going to see Kevin Hart. It was TikTok HQ, wasn't it?
Yes.
We were, obviously part of the guest list.
Yeah.
I think we were probably the first names on the guest list.
I'd say so.
I don't think anyone dropped out and they kind of put us in a bit later. No. I'm sure there wasn't like a group chat going on before. They
assembled the Avengers, and I guess we're Iron Man in that. We're sort of
the
beginning of the MCU. Sort of, we're like
the kind of the founders in a way. So we went there, and we saw Kevin Hart. He did a talk. He wasn't doing a performance or anything. He's advertising his new film, Lift.
Yeah, I guess after our disastrous first TikTok meeting, I did feel like these aren't really for us, and I actually don't think there's many opportunities to be gained here. We seem to be playing a different game to a lot of people here. It was, and so I would probably not go back to another meeting like that. It was only because
Kevin Hart.
I was like, you got to take these opportunities to see Kevin Hart, because
it was 30 people in the audience.
You got to just take it by both hands.
Absolutely.
And we bloody went and did it. I didn't know anyone there pretty much apart from Ali Woods and Fred Asquith. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, me too. I thought for Kevin I might recognise.
No, didn't recognise it. They seem to all know each other.
Yeah,
and it was interesting at being kind of it's a press event, but it's also a networking event. And thinking, I'm not going to network with any of you guys. No. I don't think there's anything that we're going to do together that will have any positive influence on the world. I don't think this is a connection that will be worthwhile in any way.
The world isn't waiting for a collab between Boys Gone Wild and I don't know. I'm sure they're much bigger than us.
I don't know what game they were playing, but it was like, I don't know whatever you're trying, but we're doing different things. I think we should stay in different.
There was a lot of people vlogging, and that's where we're like,
I just don't know.
I'm not sure I'm not sure our kind of interests are going to intersect at this point.
I think we appeared in the background of a lot of vlogs.
It was there. I think because the camera was right there, and we ended up in the middle.
If anyone sees us in the background of vlogs, I don't know if you follow these people.
Yeah, please tag us.
Please, we'll just screenshot.
I'd love to collate. The vlogs. We were in so many of the vlogs.
We must have been.
Just kind of sitting there.
Well, apparently, a fan who had listened to the podcast that we'd announced that we were going to be at the Kevin Hart Q&A live said that he saw the back of our heads.
Yeah, because we were right behind that camera there.
Yeah, and so I guess it was more serious than I thought it was.
What I thought
it wasn't a comedic tone. It was more preaching, I guess, to the future of comedy, which I think he called us he did call us sort of the future of comedy in this room.
Yeah, because not really.
He didn't sort of said that this is like the.
He said that
we're like the best.
No, he didn't say that. Okay, I think you probably heard that.
No, but it doesn't matter because he hasn't seen any of our stuff, so you'd have.
No, he was saying that like content creation is kind of like the future. He's talking about TikTok because he was in TikTok. He's more talking about TikTok and kind of DIY content is the future, and we're part of a revolution.
He was sort of implying that we're all going to be the next Kevin Hart.
Well, if we work like he does.
Yeah, probably will be. And he worked very hard.
He worked, A lot of the interview was him just saying what his schedule was.
Yeah, so there was 7 chosen questions from the audience.
He got through 2?
He got through 2 because he spent a long time answering them. A very long time. And both of the answers were pretty much the exact same, which were his schedule, which was busy.
He's a busy guy.
He's a busy guy. He fits in a lot.
Yeah.
And he sort of told us, one of the questions was, do we all have the same 24 hours in the day?
Yeah.
Sort of referencing the Beyonce quote.
And
then he went to describe like the next 6 weeks of work.
Yeah, the month he did. He ended it being like, and that's the end of February. And we were like, right, I think you've misunderstood the question, but you've taken 20 minutes to misunderstand the question.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good time. It was kind of,
It was weird to see him.
Cocktails. It was nice that there was actually alcohol there.
Yeah, you were banging him down.
Loved it.
It was odd. You were like, you having that? I was like, fucking hell, mate. Sure, you had some of mine. Cocktails was nice. I was just loosely recovering from food poisoning, so I wasn't as far away from shitting myself as I'd like to have been.
But then we had celeb photos on the not red carpet.
I suppose you just kind of brushed over the shitting yourself.
No, I'm saying that it was funny that you were just recovering from shitting yourself, and then it was thrown into basically almost a red carpet.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
As if it was like an announcement of you.
Yeah, he's back. He stopped throwing up. So there was a bit of gas going on, and I was like, he's right there.
Yeah,
it would be the best opportunity to get his attention.
What if you just
stood up and?
But he didn't seem like. He didn't seem in his comedic zone where maybe he would have turned it into something funny or seen ridiculous.
No.
He would have seen it as like a sign, or like he would have gone on like a diatribe about purpose and discipline. That would be the problem.
Yeah.
And I think if you've shut yourself, that would probably make it worse. If he turned you into a sort of like
or
case
he would do it as like a we in many ways
lowest.
Shitting yourself is a bit like making a movie. It's about
lift.
It's about fully allowing your inner self to become part of a physicalized external thing.
Yeah.
In many ways, the modern cinema viewer is the toilet. We are the poopers.
And I feel
the poop is the movie.
I feel when you have shit in your pants, hearing that, I think that.
And I'm like, can I go to the toilet? So much shit content. I think Kevin, I was expecting,
yeah.
Kevin
He'd
Hart.
clearly done a lot of press, and
That's fair.
I've seen a couple of press things where he's wearing the same outfit.
Oh,
and
really?
They're getting a bouncier Kev than we got. Let's put it like that.
Yeah,
this was like 4 p.m. He'd been doing press, so we got.
He was
end
getting
of
a
the
flight
day.
back that night.
We're getting end of the day, Kev.
And it's a TikTok live stream with 30 people in the audience.
Yeah.
That's fair. He wasn't, in a way, obviously tired.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine doing the thing. Sound like my worst fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But...
So you didn't want to become Kevin Hart after that, did you?
No. Okay. That wasn't like, there it is. That's what I want.
It wasn't like a big inspirational moment.
No. It was like, the lift trailers threw me off a bit. What he was saying didn't quite equate to the lift tease. But he was tired, but he was, he was answering the interviewer must feel blessed because he was nervous, as anyone fucking would be. But he probably had so many questions prepared just in case.
Yeah.
But he was fucking lucky because he'd ask one question and he'd talk for 10 minutes.
Easy.
So he wasn't exactly like...
Busman's holiday.
Exactly. So often. Husband's holiday.
As in just sitting in a chair saying nothing. That's him. That's his...
I don't think that's how the phrase...
No, it doesn't really work.
Yeah,
like
okay.
That. Yeah.
But so he was tired. He was in a more profound, thoughtful mood rather than a comedic, energetic mood.
Yeah.
But that still had its own energy.
Yeah.
He was just saying the same thing every time. I think he was on autopilot. Just it doesn't matter. None of this matters.
I thought that. So beforehand, they asked us lots of questions as a group. We didn't actually answer any questions, which were multiple choice questions about our love and fandom of Kevin Hart. That's when it started really feeling like culty. It was like almost like a dystopian.
It was the first time I felt like I was making up racial numbers in a room.
Really?
I felt
we were token white guys?
A little bit.
And how did that make you feel?
Fine. I was okay with it.
See?
Yeah. Just deal with it. Yeah, no, there was a bit of that because it was mostly black, as it probably should be. For Kevin Hart. And
as all events should be.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Yeah. Me too. Actually, regardless of whatever it is.
Yeah. Icelandic Parliament.
Yeah.
I want that majority black.
Tough decision making body. Yeah. Icelandic Parliament. I was trying to think. And only I went to a bowls club and I was like, well, that's kind of racist.
Yeah, you don't want to keep black people out of bowls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
But people in bowls probably want that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's what needs to change.
Not famously progressive people in bowls.
No.
It's my grandma. But
she's not famously progressive.
No.
She's not famed for her progression.
No.
Progressive thought.
But whose grandma is? I know there's a lot.
I'm trying to think, actually. That's a good question.
Rosa Parks' granddaughter. Probably alive.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Who's
Do you know, my question is...
Jane Fonda. She did a lot of stuff about the Vietnam War.
Jane Fonda?
Yeah.
So you're saying Jane Fonda's...
granddaughter.
Because you said Jane Fonda, so that means Jane Fonda's grandma, and who the fuck is that?
Probably a civil war. Probably
a civil war. You think Jane Fonda's grandma's a civil war? That's not very progressive.
We don't know what they're fighting over.
Yeah, I had a conclusion to Kevin. Yeah. I think it was... I'll be interested to see, because he did the Graham Norton show the night before.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that.
Yeah.
Because surely he's going to definitely do more of the stick naturally.
You'd hope so.
You'd hope so. But also, it's a pivot. It's a pivot.
Are you saying that we kind of saw quite a fundamental shift in the Kevin Hart story?
Precisely.
We might have been at this sort of...
Absolutely.
And little did we know, we just think it's any old Kevin Hart. We don't know that we're actually going to look back at this as a fundamental pivot.
As an absolute turning point in the history of Kevin Hart.
And mankind.
I was going to go for like a bit lower, but you went straight to mankind and then bamboozled me. Lift is not a funny film. I think there's only...
Did you watch the trailer beforehand?
No.
So I don't watch it either. I don't know what it's about. I know they spent a lot of money on it, and we saw 2 teasers when we were sat there, which were weirdly chosen teasers.
They were poorly chosen teasers.
Poorly chosen teasers, because when you're showing a teaser, it normally should leave you wanting more, or like...
Well, it should tease. It? Yeah.
And they seemed to... It was almost like they had blindly picked a 10-second clip from any point in the film.
A lot of it was inexplicable kung fu.
Yeah, and so it started where you don't know what's happening, and it ended not at a clear joke or a moment.
There wasn't exactly much setting up of conflict, which is to be resolved in the film. It was more like, why are these people hitting each other?
It was a lot of fighting on a plane, and it didn't leave me wondering why they're fighting on a plane.
It wasn't. There was no setup to why they're on the plane, what they're trying to achieve by being on the plane, and the obstacles that they're going to have to be on trying to achieve this over the plane. It was like pow, 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 pow. But yeah, Kevin Hart was an interesting one. Just to say something on him. He's a small guy.
He's very small.
So, but what surprised me most wasn't his height; it was the size of his legs. Now, this is something only the upper echelons of society who get invited to TikTok live screenings of Kevin Hart Q&A can say.
The elites,
the 1%. Tight, like legs.
Yeah.
Like they look like they look a bit like these podcast mic stands. They looked like the legs of a child.
Yeah.
Which was the most surprising thing to me.
So what does that say?
I'm yet to understand.
Even the smallest legs can
have the biggest hearts.
So it's sort of like Lord
Kevin
of the Rings.
Hearts.
It's like the story of Frodo.
Yeah.
That whole storyline is about a tiny hobbit changed the world. And he is, in some way, Kevin Hart kind of is Frodo Baggins.
Right.
Because he grew up in Hobbiton.
Yeah.
He's a tiny, the whole shtick of that the Shire was the area, Hobbiton was the town, more specifically. But I guess both are right. This is London, but we're also in Mile End. So, but I think that story...
It's going to let that linger.
That story... I do think was talking about the Kevin Hart story, which is even the smallest man can make the biggest difference. So you think
it's more a prediction? Do you think... Who wrote Lord of the Rings? Martin or Tolkien? Tolkien, didn't he? Do you think Tolkien heard of this baby in America and prophesied? It's almost like the Bible, and prophesied the story.
Well, I imagine it's more eyes rolling into the back of his head. He gets a vision
of Kevin Hart.
The future. He sees the teaser we saw for Lift.
So do you think his... conquering of Mordor, or he's at the gates of Mordor about to throw the ring into the fire, would you say is the premiere of Lift?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
I don't want you to dwell too long into this question. I was kind of hoping for a yes or no.
I don't know if that's that moment, but I think we're definitely... This, in many ways, could be... This is like the next leg of the journey. I don't think we're quite...
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So, we're not at Mordor yet. That'll be
yet.
when he does like when he does like an art house film.
Yeah.
Or just some like serious character acting.
That's when he gets the Bradley Cooper big nose. That's when he plays Elephant Man.
Yeah.
That was his Gates of Mordor.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a fun evening.
So he is, I looked it up, he's the biggest selling touring comedian in the world.
Yeah, I thought
so. He's the biggest one. Yeah, it's just an interesting, because his
goal, right there,
his goals are... He wants to have he wants to be like create a dynasty. He kind of wants almost like
he wants to be like an oligarch.
Yeah, he wants Hart written on hotels and buildings.
So he was saying us in London or in England are very used to seeing names of like Harrods,
W.H. Smith, Marks and Spencers,
Woolworths, Toys R Us.
Yeah, the Toys R Us dynasty.
I wanted to get going on that, but I can't think of any shops.
Asda,
which
I think they
probably is. Tesco, I think is.
They all Sainsbury's, Tesco, and Asda. They're probably like the five families. Morrison's, they all meet.
Yeah.
Lidl.
Well, what's one that isn't a name?
What about Games Workshop?
Yep.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Anyway,
what were we talking about?
We're talking about Kevin Hart.
So he's saying how we're all used to seeing, as we've just shown, it's quite hard to name a company that isn't a UK company that isn't based on someone's name. I think he was saying, you don't really have that in America. These long-term businesses that are passed down from generation to generation. He was saying, I want that. Which is almost something in the UK where it's a bit like, we don't really like those people.
No.
They're quite mean.
Well, he kind of wants
He's talking about the upper class, like the upper class.
But I think we think that because we're dealing with the grandkids. I think it's normally the first dude had...
Oh, you're like, your sound.
Sound, and it's just having...
And then people living off, the fat of the land, the fat of the heart, the fat of the Kevin Hart.
It's like the Sackler family with OxyContin and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That first guy through the gate.
You admire the pioneers, you don't admire the
spoiled
the
rich,
butt suckers.
Yeah, exactly. The spoiled rich kids.
The butt suckers. Let's not mince our words.
So we'll respect Kevin Hart. It's actually going to be the next generation of Harts. That's who we're going to have
who we need to watch, keep an eye on.
That's who we're going to struggle.
You do. He has 5.
Well, he's creating a dynasty.
Yeah. Well, he's got to have one for each of the things. He's a businessman. He's
Yeah.
a businessman.
But yeah, I guess I didn't want to do that sort of stuff. It did seem a bit too much. I don't want to do that.
What, start a dynasty?
Yeah, that was too much. I heard his schedule.
yeah.
I was like, not for me. I don't.
No, that's probably a bit.
I
too
feel
far.
like you could rein it back and have a better time. Like you could find like a nice balance.
Yeah, because he was
you were
saying
doing loads of stuff, but
he was saying he
not
was looking to
everything.
retire at age 50, wasn't he? That's not going to happen. No chance. He's addicted to the work, mate. You could see it in his fucking eyes.
He's a junkie.
He's a junkie. The Traitors is on. Everyone's watching the Traitors. It's back.
We hope so.
It's bigger than ever. It couldn't be bigger. There's going to be spoilers. So to be honest, well,
For the next 10 minutes.
For the next 10 minutes,
There'll be spoilers.
we can maybe timestamp it.
Yeah, I hadn't watched the first season at all, but I've got into it now. I'm a big fan of the Traitors.
Did you not watch the first season?
No, I missed it.
It's worth a rewatch, I'd argue.
Do you think it was better than this one?
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We're only, this one's still gearing up a little bit. But there's one episode in the first season of The Traitors that I believe is the best reality TV episode I've ever seen. I think it's 3 or 4. People know what I'm talking about. It's one of the ones where they come in the morning in the kitchen and it all just kicks the fuck off.
Oh, shit.
And people are just shouting stuff. Secrets come out. It's like one of the best. I think
great.
the best reality TV episode I've seen. But
they've lucked out big time with Traitors. I bet they didn't think it would be this big a hit.
No.
And also, just to say, we need to appreciate where things come from. I do think Raven walked so Traitors could run.
Now, that's very interesting. Raven?
Yeah.
Why?
The we of the warrior.
Yeah, I forgot, yeah.
So the aesthetic.
Alan Swift.
Yeah.
You have been...
There's a specific
lost a
sort of
feather.
gothic BBC aesthetic game show type thing, and I think Raven, which has often been disregarded and people don't talk about it anymore, I think now Traitors is a big hit, and I think the guy who played Raven, who I think about a lot,
He came up on something recently.
did he?
Yeah.
Because I've been wondering,
It wasn't good.
because I'm wondering what happens when you play Raven, the we of the warrior, which is a kids' TV show where a guy
Accidentally iconic.
yes,
Which is the problem.
where a guy who it's quite a tough pocket to be in if you're an actor, which is you're on a kids' TV show, but there's sort of no way to play it like you're taking the piss because your role is taking it incredibly sincerely.
Yeah.
Where the whole shtick of it was it's sort of like this kind of like dark fantasy world.
Which
with
is
this
definitely
guy
filmed in like Dorset.
Yeah. Well, that was what was
Woods.
funny is that they had this really dramatic thing where this guy called Raven, who's got like black raven feathers, a staff with a skull on it, and it's saying like really dramatic things. You must collect 3 feathers and 2 rings to understand the way of the warrior. And then you'd have like a cross-eyed fat kid with
always quite fat.
yeah, but with like a.
So how? No one ever did. Anyone ever beat the Way of the Warrior? I don't think they did.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But you had the big, brightly coloured safety helmets on.
Did they?
Yeah, because health and safety. So they have to.
I don't think they were fluorescent.
No, they were like they had just like normal.
Oh, like when they got up in the trees and shit.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that
that's
sort
true.
of when they had this huge build up of creating this world of like skulls and crows, and then you have like a kid like,
I don't want to do it. You know?
It's basically Go Ape, you know.
It was Go Ape. Yeah.
You know, I would have dressed them up and made them properly look.
Yeah, but back to the Traitors.
And I think that if you look at the aesthetic of Traitors, I think they've taken a lot from Raven.
Right.
And I feel
Traitors wasn't a UK thing. It came from somewhere else.
No.
It was imported. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I think maybe even the US did it first.
No, the US Traitors is taken from the UK.
Let's see I think it's somewhere else. Which country came up with the Traitors?
North Korea.
The Traitors, in its native language, is a Dutch reality TV musician. And then I think it moved around. Yeah. Oh, in American reality TV, it was American based on Dutch, and then I think it came to us.
Oh.
No, I think maybe we're before America. Anyway,
It
wasn't a BBC original.
Anyway, it is great. I think still one of my favourite moments from this season has been Aubrey, who was the first person to go out.
Yeah.
And it's always
we're in Aubrey House.
It's a tough place to be in that sort of game when you go out first. And it
must be so shit.
It's kind of always funny going out first, no matter who it is. But I especially liked Aubrey because Aubrey, he was sort of like an eccentric old guy who had like wore a suit and had like a slanted hat, almost like he was a detective.
And he was one of those, I'm going to say what I think and you're going to like it or you're going to hate it.
He kept talking about how observant he was.
He didn't get any screen time.
He got a bit of screen time, and he seemed to really trying to sell that he has special powers observance.
Yeah.
And his game plan was he wasn't going to talk to anyone. He was just going to let everyone know that he was observing them, and he was incredibly observant.
Yeah.
And then people just voted him out. Oh, you mean that observant guy? Let's get rid of the weird guy that no one has any connection to.
Yeah, who's going to sit there quietly just looking at us.
Now, my moment, which is up there with some of my favourite reality TV moment, is when everyone walks through the door, first breakfast.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to go out. And they all realise that Aubrey's out. Now, no one has spoken to Aubrey. No one gives a fuck about Aubrey. But seeing the shots of everyone going, oh,
not Aubrey.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh. Like, literally could not give... Not that weird guy.
The one who sat in the corner in a three-piece suit who didn't say anything.
The guy who kept going on about how observant he was. Not that guy.
Oh, no. Well, we're going to miss his observance.
Not
we could have
Aubrey.
really used him. I mean, it's a tough situation to feign. It's a tough situation to feign being upset at anyone going out after day one because you're like, I don't care about these strangers, but Aubrey is a real tough one. The quiet man in the corner. Just like,
I'm observant.
I'm observant and I'm going to watch all of you. Be quiet. Oh, no, he's gone. Oh, it's not going to be the same without him. Yeah, that was up there. For funny moments, I thought it was very scandalous or at least tactless. Yeah. Why didn't they see it? So there's one guy who was got his leg blown off in the army, so he had one leg, and there was one trial where they had to like run across something. And then they got split. The two team captains were picked, who then had to, pick teams. They got picked last. I thought, like, how are you doing that? So I was ready. I was like, someone's going to pick him. He's not going to be last. And then it just kept going. And I was like, you can't pick that guy last.
Do you think... I don't know if he'd even be the worst.
He absolutely wasn't the worst.
Because
he made it across.
He's a military guy.
He's a military guy.
He's been through so much shit. He wouldn't even be the worst. He's lost his leg. He's overcome everything.
Look, he wasn't going to be the best.
No.
But in no ways was he going to be the worst. He was going to be upper, bottom, lower, middle.
Yeah.
And the fact that they all just went, well, he hasn't got a leg. I don't want him.
Yeah.
That guy hasn't got a leg. I'm not him. I was like, you guys are on national television. And you're just like, oh, not him with the leg. That made me laugh. However, more importantly, I have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a theorem that I've wanted to share because I would be awful on the traitors if I was a traitor. I actually don't think I could do it. I think I'd freak out.
I think we'd both be good faithfuls.
I'd be a good faithful. Yeah. I'd be a good faithful because then I could relax. I'm a terrible liar.
Yeah.
If I really need to lie, I'm all right.
Yeah.
But generally, I'm a terrible liar. But I think they gave it up in episode 1 or 2, and I think no one's talked about this. I've not seen any of the Twitter discussions or anything discuss this theory, but. Two of them, the ginger bloke and the military bloke.
Yeah.
Harry and...
The ones who are killing it.
The ones who were doing really well. The ginger bloke, his time's numbered nowadays. But on like the second or... I think it's episode 2, maybe. In the round table, they are... So in the round table, I guess for people that don't know, I guess you have to know, whatever. So on the round table, you've got to vote people out. It's like a big game of Mafia, is what it is. You've got to banish someone and before they get murdered or whatever. But so it was... They'd had their discussion and everyone was voting, and definitely the ginger guy, but I think Harry as well. He might have been early on, but the vote was pretty. It was conclusive. It was all this one person. Can't remember who that person was, but everyone had done it. Everyone had voted them. And when you do your votes, you have to give a little explanation as to why, kind of thing, and maybe you say a little thing. Now both of them, and they're the only people to ever do this I've seen, and it was both of them who were traitors who did this. Did their vote, and then they said. Oh, I'm really sorry. I have voted for you. I hope I'm wrong. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No traitor would say, I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. The thing is, you hope you're right.
Yeah.
And I've seen genuine faithfuls previously go, I'm really sorry. I hope I'm right. I've seen them say that. They've slipped up because they're trying to be nice, going in the nice mode, going like, feeling bad about it.
Yeah.
No faithful hopes you're wrong. No one hopes you're wrong. I would. That doesn't make any sense. I would have got them then. 100. I was like, why would you hope you're wrong?
Yeah.
No. And if you look, it's weird. No one else will ever say that. They are the only two people who have said it, and they're both traitors. Because as soon as they said that, I thought, fuck, they've slipped up, and I expected someone to go.
But you know they're traitors, so I wonder if in the room if that would have slipped past.
I know that's true. I can't guarantee that in the room, you know, who knows what I would have been like. But in that moment, I don't know, definitely from this perspective, but you'd think so. Why would you hope you're wrong?
Now,
you really hope you're right, because
completely
otherwise the polite thing is to vote off the right person. The impolite thing is to vote off the wrong person. Look how devastated they are when they get someone wrong. No one hopes that they're wrong. It was a slip up and no one's noticed it.
Yeah. No,
That's my theory. If anyone disagrees.
Now, can we talk about Claire, the clairvoyant? Was her name Claire?
I don't know names, but
remember the clairvoyant?
Yeah, she hasn't done much clairvoyance.
She did one clairvoyance.
Did she clairvoyant?
She clairvoyanted Anthony, the chess player, who I can't imagine. He seems like the most defensive chess coach. I'm like, I can't imagine a chess coach being that aggy.
Well, maybe he's just his style is very defensive in chess. That he's taking it into real life.
What the fuck do you mean?
He is so defensive.
So Claire,
it's a tough game, though. I feel bad for all of them in there.
Claire, the clairvoyant.
That's good anyway, isn't it?
She is already funny that she's a clairvoyant.
And called Claire.
So she did some palm reading, or
did she?
Not palm reading. She did some like sort of reading, just reading.
Vava.
Yeah, of Anthony, and it was quite fascinating because she said, "I feel you're quite shaped by your childhood." That was the first thing she said, and I said, "Yeah,
yeah." Oh, was he like? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I feel that there was something in your childhood that has really shaped you. And he's like, yeah. So I was like, right. And that was it.
That was it. That's all the clairvoyanting she's done.
It was quite spectacular. It was amazing.
It's like a proper shyster move.
It's just fucking awesome.
Who you are today is a combination of, I'm going to say, nature and nurture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's literally me.
Either one or both of those has really affected who you are today.
That's freaky.
There are similarities between you and your parents.
That's crazy because it genuinely is. I'm a lot like my dad.
Yeah.
That's mad.
You were once a smaller person and then you've grown up into someone new, but you're not too dissimilar from that smaller person.
I'll be like a black guy seeing magic. You know, I'll be like, shh, damn. Walking around.
I actually wanted, because when I heard a clairvoyant was going on, I'm like, right, here we go. This is like this could be a national social. Oh wait, no, this could be a scientific experiment. Put it to the test. If I was in there, I'd be like, come on then, who's the fucking? And she'll say it doesn't work like that, won't she? It doesn't work like that. I'm like, but surely your talent is going to point us in a good direction here. You're going to have a better understanding of who's lying than us.
You speak with the spirit world.
Ask them.
Yeah.
But is a
clairvoyant speaks to ghosts, speaks to dead people. So I guess like speaking to dead people, I don't know how much.
If only the people who were murdered were actually murdered. Then
the clairvoyant comes in handy.
Then the clairvoyant's like, yeah, I've just been speaking to Anthony.
You want that fella on your team.
Although no, the murdered people don't know who the traitors are. God damn.
I'm sure there's some information to be gleaned.
Yeah, that's always the case. Let's do fantasies.
Yes.
Because fantasies is something that we specialise here in Boys Gone Wild.
Yeah.
A fantasy because I thought you'd be interested.
I love fantasies. I'm a big fan.
So my biggest fantasy, I've realised, it's not at the moment, I've had this for decades. I've had this for or at least one decade. Yeah. That came up kind of organically, that I realised recently I've harboured immediately. No, I've harboured consistently. Yeah. And that is, I really want to be the person to find a missing cat and then refuse the reward money.
Now that's nice.
It's a good fantasy, isn't it?
What kind of sum are you looking at?
Well, there would be a sum where I'd have to take it.
Yeah.
If they're like, if a billionaire's cat had gone missing, and they were like, "We'll give you £1 million."
But I guess what's the classiest move? Is it turning down money from a billionaire? Probably not.
No.
Or is it turning down a meager sum from someone who that's all she's got?
Of course.
But then
Good Samaritan.
But then it doesn't make you special because I think a lot of the average people
of people would have.
So you probably want to find that mid-range where it's like most people would take it.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with your assessment, but the monetary value isn't the most important thing here. It's the gesture of it. It's like, I don't find cats for money. I think that might be clear anyway. I'm not this professional cat finder. No, that kind of ruins what I'm saying. And be
it's
like,
not on your tax return.
I didn't
invoice.
When I saw that cat, I didn't see a $sign.
No.
I saw a human being. Because I'm really messed up.
You really,
No, I saw that. So every time I walk past a missing cat poster, I analyze the fuck out of it.
Really?
I really look at missing cat posters so I can be like, remember that cat. If I see it, I'm fucking there.
Yeah.
100. So I take far more effort into finding missing cats than I do missing children.
Yeah. Missing children, it feels like that's not really up to us.
If I'm honest, if I'm completely honest with myself, if there were two lampposts right next to each other, one of them had a missing cat poster on, the other had a missing child poster on, I am going to be studying the face of the cat far longer than the child.
Yeah, because the child, it feels like there's a lot more baggage.
Go on.
Well, they've probably been kidnapped for human trafficking, and I don't want to be starring in a Liam Neeson style film.
yeah.
And I feel
you want to end
cat,
up in a boat on the Seine or something.
I do feel finding a cat, it's hard to get caught up in stuff. You know what I mean?
There's traditionally less crime.
Yeah,
there's
and
not,
it also feels like the police are looking for kids. They're not looking for cats. That's our job. That's vigilantes.
Well, no, but
that's the neighbourhood watch.
That is true.
That's the social contract.
Agreed. But is in a world where the kid is just wandering about, it's been lost for a few hours. So, and someone's
already printed off.
A very, very prepared parent has plastered everywhere. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Like, have you even looked in your house fully yet?
Yeah, but check the garden. Check the garden. I think I'd still look at the cat more. Do you know what I mean?
I do know. But what's going on there? What do you think's going on there? More innocence.
I think there's more of a quiet dignity to finding a cat. If you find a kid, it's like you might end up on the news.
Now, is there any sexual element to this?
No, you're going to have to explain why.
You turn up.
I find I won't accept the money as a reward, like a porn video.
No, I guess
like a pizza delivery, except I'm giving them back their lost cat.
I guess the sort of the sexual fantasy element of it would be you give it back. It's a nice old lady, and where are you've turned down the money, and then you see in the kitchen
a fine ass granddaughter,
just the hottest granddaughter, but like a Victoria's Secret model, but she's wearing a sweater.
Right.
So she's
wearing glasses.
So
she's wearing the lingerie, but just the glasses, and I just therefore assume she's a run-of-the-mill girl.
She's a girl next door.
Just like, wow, there's something about her. Takes off the glasses. She's got the wings on.
It makes you feel like you've spotted her.
Yeah.
And then I guess it would be like you develop a relationship with the grandparent because you're
saved a cat.
She thinks you're very sweet.
I take an interest in the cat's life now.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, come in for a cup of tea." "Oh, I couldn't possibly." "Oh, please, this is the least I could do." If you're not going to accept the money, please come in.
Please at least accept the tea.
So would you, in your fantasy, accepting her tea and cake? That would add still to
I would be accepting the tea and cake, yes.
More now! Drinking out the pot.
Ravenous.
Drinking out the pot.
Yeah. Get the next batch on! Yeah. That's fun sound. Right, so you come in. No, but I've eaten cake and tea normally, right?
And then I guess, I'm just trying to, let's talk about what is the hottest
You haven't,
scenario.
you're yet to explain the sexual fantasy.
So she's got a granddaughter that she...
I think the hottest scenario, get the granny out of it. Why are you involving a granny? Just cut out the middleman in this weird sexual fancies that just
because this is not like this is not like a hot and steamy. This is like trying to build.
It's not hot and steamy, so it's a good sexual fantasy.
No, this is building up eroticism.
There's too many hot and steamy sexual fantasies.
This is building up the tension. So it's like
right.
Do you think? I think it's just a bit fucking on the nose. If the Victoria's Secret
I'm
model,
alright with my sexual fantasies being on the nose. I know we disagree with this.
So the Victoria's Secret
we can't all be Persian warlords who have their...
No. So the Victoria's Secret model opens the door and immediately
and we start making out. No, there can be a bit of push and pull. There can be a chase, but I can't. I don't know why we've brought a granny into it. Why have we brought grannies and Jaffa cakes into it? I'm pitching floral sofas, and that kind of carpet, and a really nice teapot with a flower on it.
Nothing happened to that day,
and
but it's the beginning.
How long have we got, mate? We've got to end this episode.
It's a fantasy that builds up, and that means that's just a lot more erotic, I feel.
No, it's more erotic to go from
how would you make it erotic?
It's more erotic to go from you've just met this person to fucking. The shorter it is, not like instantly, but you don't want to. Then you're just talking about dating someone. That's not as erotic. If there's like a stranger kind of like, and this spontaneous
will they,
sex
won't
happen.
they?
No, rom-coms.
So, tell me this fantasy as an erotic for you, how it goes down.
It's the Victoria's Secret model's cat, and I don't know why it's a controversial.
No, it's not controversial, but just run me through.
I don't know why it's a controversial.
I
don't know why it's a controversial thing that I don't have a granny involved in mine. I think that's a pretty standard thing. Yeah. That it's her
run
house.
me through the steps. Okay.
It's her.
So you find the cat.
This wasn't even sexual.
No, I want to hear.
Okay, I find the cat. Yeah. I find the cat, and I suppose it's the Victoria's Secret model's cat. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go in.
What's she wearing?
She's what we said she was earlier. Yeah. The lingerie wings, but because she's wearing glasses, I think she's hideous because she's wearing glasses. I think she's so ugly. And then walking, she's like, at least, can I make you? Let me buy you a drink.
Yeah.
Let me buy you a drink instead. Well, actually, no, we need to stay in the house. So let me fix you a drink or something. You see how I'm replacing grannies with alcohol? Wait, grannies with women my age and biscuits.
Oh, you'd love my granddaughter.
I make the finest tea in the world. Have you met my granddaughter, by the way? Vroom. Stupid. Because then
the name's Veronica.
The problem is, just with yours quickly.
Yeah.
It's not. So it's going to go over the next day. Maybe you exchange.
It's going to be a long time.
You exchange numbers and you start dating this woman until you have sex. What a weird sexual fantasy. That is a relationship fantasy.
It's more the sexual tension
in the granny's room. The granny's there. The granny's there. There is no point. The granny's there. You're in the granny's house. Does she live with the granny?
No. Well, she's visiting her grandma.
Even worse.
But then she has to go off to do her. She works she's a UN peacekeeper.
Yeah.
In Somalia.
And a doctor on the weekends.
Yeah. And so she's going away the next day, but there's a clear tension.
So there's going to be months.
She's away for months, but we've established that connection. Then we start cutting to, and it's a long, long time before I get my rocks off.
Honestly, the worst sexual fantasy.
It's a building up. I think a lot of people with more taste here can understand it because it's not all just straight to it.
We're talking about sexual fantasies. We're not talking about. You are fantasizing about the one. You're fantasizing about a relationship here. You can't stop thinking about her for this month.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's not a sexual fantasy.
Because she's actually thinking about me the whole time while she's. She's in the middle of a war zone, but she's still thinking of that guy.
It's just a period drama. You're describing a period drama. This is not a sexual fantasy.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
So
then you fuck her and never see her again after that? I think for a sexual fantasy...
Once I fucked her, then it's it dissipates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what happens after
that.
So
you are, I think for it, you're turned on for this whole month when she's away in Somalia.
Yeah. Well, this all happens
you're sending poetry?
This all happens quite quickly.
Are you sending letters back and forth? Yep.
There needs to be something.
And then it's not a sexual fantasy anymore. You cannot have long-term, long-distance correspondence in a sexual fantasy. It doesn't make sense. You're describing a period, right?
I'm having sex during that period, but I can't stop thinking about her.
You don't know what a sexual fantasy is.
Explain to me what happens. So she answers the door.
It's as simple as you go in and the owner of the cat turns out to be quite hot. There's a magnetism between the two of you. I don't want it to ever be like, maybe it could be cheekily suggested that this is the reward for, if you're not going to accept the money, maybe. It's not the case. It's not the case.
Because I feel that would take away from your hero complex.
Exactly. And that is the more important fantasy. The more important fantasy is the returning of the cat without accepting the reward. I don't want that to be sullied by my dirty,
What about you then find her the next day stuck up a tree? And then
the cat or the girl?
The lady. And then you get her down, and then you get the reward. Because that feels less...
Please stop calling it a reward. I said, maybe she's she jokingly suggests. She's playing a role.
Imagine...
Oh, that's sexy, is it? Oh, imagine. Sarcasm. You're useless at this.
No, I'm saying, that's not sexy. If she was doing that, I'd be like, that's a bit...
Doing what?
It's a bit gauche.
No, but she could be a bit if you're not going to accept if you're not going to, like any porn film, if you're not going to accept the reward money, maybe there's something else I can do. As a bit of fun, I'll be like,
let's get the granny back in
here. I think I'd have to clarify. Yeah, this is all going on with Doris in the fucking corner, still pouring out teas and offering out jammy dodgers, you maniac. But yeah, no, I think more immediate, that's the sexual fantasy.
Yeah.
And again, you've sullied this lovely thing I have. That's the end of the episode. See you next week.